not to be.
Oh, you are in the first scene. You are in the first scene. I'm so sorry. I forgot.
I'm just teasing.
So Janet, we're good to go?
Sorry.
I see recording, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the table read for Chasing the Dead. I really appreciate your participation, especially the actors. Thank you. I know that these weird times, we value time with our family and everything that you need to do. And this is certainly not something you need to do. It's something that you want to do, and that means the world to me. So thank you. Special shout out to Eli, who came in today to read. One of our actors had a family emergency and had to beg off. So Eli is jumping in, and I appreciate that as well. My marvelous actors are Tova Weinberger. She's playing the main role of Sue. Hello. Bar Redden, all the way from Ireland. He is playing the bad guy because he is a bad guy. Dan Shackhead, he is playing Detective Yates. Eli Esrig is playing Phil, both young and old, and Officer Finn. Jeremiah Lewis is playing Officer O'Donnell and Brad. Ethan Crystal is playing Jeff and the possessed Jeff. And Erica McNabb is playing Marilyn and various other roles. So thank you all. And with that, I'll start doing my part. And just so you know, I'm almost the only person who doesn't die in this whole thing because I'm the narrator. So I hope you all enjoy. So we start with Chasing the Dead, written by Tim Westland, based on the novel Chasing the Dead by Joe Schreiber. Fade in. Exterior, playground, day. A rusty swing set sits alone on a field of dry, dead grass. The August heat shimmers over mummified soil. No children play here. Silence rules. Then, the throaty rumble of an approaching car. Super, 20 years ago. A rusty 47 Packard stops at the entrance of the playground. Several yards away, and oddly out of place, is a statue of a bald man holding a bone saw. It stands at the entrance of the park with a grim, angry expression, as if warning people to keep their distance. The driver's window slides down slowly. The driver, a dark, massive form, regards the statue silently. Several seconds pass and the window slides back up, and the Packard drives off. Exterior, Dry Creek, day. Sue Young, 12, wide-eyed and innocent, makes her way through a weed-choked creek bed. Her eyes dart left and right.
I shouldn't have let you talk me into coming out here.
Behind her, Phil, 13, well on his way to handsome, walks with purpose.
You didn't have to come, Sue.
It's been 2 weeks since I've seen you. Everyone seems so worried.
Up ahead, a twig snaps. Both kids stop in their tracks. Real fear is evident on Sue's face.
Don't worry. I'll protect you.
More rustling, and a raccoon waddles out of the weeds. It sees the two, changes direction, and lumbers off. Exterior, Creek Bridge, day. Phil and Sue climb the steep embankment and huddle under the arch of the bridge. Ahead of them, the empty playground. Phil and Sue look at each other and grin. Exterior, playground, day. Phil pushes Sue on the swing. With every swing, Phil tries to smell her hair.
This is dangerous. I should have told someone where I was going.
Phil shrugs. In the distance, the Packard rumbles towards the park. Sue sees it and stiffens. Phil looks over and stops pushing.
Let's go home.
Probably just a geezer looking for directions. I'll be right back.
What if it's him?
Ever say he drives a van or something like that? Don't worry.
Sue stays put, but frets as Phil walks towards the car. The darkened driver's side window lowers. Words are exchanged. Then an arm reaches out and grabs Phil. The car door opens and a huge man, the harvester, climbs out, his overalls spattered with dried blood. He punches Phil in the face, throws him to the ground. Phil is out like a light. Sue can't contain her fear.
Phil!
The man's head whips around. He zeroes in on Sue. Out comes a wicked-looking knife. Sue turns to run, but trips and lands hard. Her head bounces and a nasty cut splits her chin open. Dazed, she glances back. The man is running full speed towards her. She tries to get up, but he's there, towering over her. He bends down, grabs her by the ankle, lifts her as if she weighs nothing. Her gaze comes level with his face. Her eyes reflect in his dark aviator sunglasses.
Thought I'd harvested all the low-hanging fruit in this town.
Sue cries uncontrollably. From behind, Phil leaps on the harvester's back, knocks the knife from his grasp and the sunglasses from his face. For a split second, Sue looks into his eyes. No, not eyes. Glowing blood-red orbs stare back at her. The harvester drops Sue and wrestles Phil to the ground. Somewhere in the scuffle, the knife is scooped up. A glint of metal, it slices the air, plunges into flesh. The harvester cries out in pain. The harvester struggles, but Phil plunges the knife into the man's neck, chest, face. Sue turns away as the knife comes down again and again. The harvester lets out a last gasp and is gone. His blood pulses out, then slows. Panting, Phil allows the knife to slip from his hand. Sue runs over to Phil. He's roughed up, but otherwise okay. Sue stares at the harvester's body. The cut on her chin drips blood.
Is he dead?
Phil stares at the knife, at his bloody hands. His gaze rises to meet Sue's. He nods almost imperceptibly.
Should we call the police? We can explain it to them. They'll see it and they'll understand.
Phil says nothing, just shakes his head. Sue hugs herself.
What are we going to do?
Phil glances up at the nearby trash can. It's lined with a plastic garbage bag. He turns, sees the bridge, the weed-filled creek bed.
I need you to hear me. You trust me, Sue?
Interior, Sue's office, night. Sue Young, now 32, stares out at her office window as snow blankets the Boston skyline. She rubs absently at the scar on her chin. Super. Today, 5:30 p.m.
Sue? Hello. You still with me?
She breaks from the memory, turns and smiles half-heartedly at her office manager, Brad Flynn, 50s. Brad holds out a pen, slides a thick contract toward her. Sue takes the pen. Her hand hovers over the signature line. She looks uncertain, almost frightened.
I can't. Phil built this business. It was everything to him. I can't just...
Thought we agreed not to use his name in this office unless it was in vain.
Sue stares at the contract, paralyzed. She can't pull the trigger on the deal. Brad senses her discomfort and softens. His gaze drifts to the outer office where a company Christmas party is in full swing.
This can wait till tomorrow. Go out and enjoy the party. You paid for it, after all.
He hands her the invoice. She sees the total.
Wow. Did you have to order so much seafood?
Oh, I thought, he deserved something special after Phil. I'm going to get some of that lobster before it crawls away.
Brad heads out to join the party. Sue's gaze drifts to a photo. She picks it up. It shows Phil, 30s, holding their newborn daughter, Lily.
I trusted you.
She glances at her watch, sighs, and joins the party. Exterior, parking lot, night. Wrapped in a thick winter coat, Sue carries a box of frozen lobsters. Brad stumbles along behind her, drunk, barely able to carry the case of Bacardi in his arms.
Don't worry, Sue. Everything is under control. Try to enjoy the holiday.
Sue opens the door of her expedition, places the lobsters on the passenger side floor. Brad plops his box in the back next to a child's car seat. Sue starts the car, waves at Brad, and pulls away. Brad waves back and turns to rejoin the party. His phone rings. He answers.
Merry Christmas, Brad.
Drive safe. Watch out for the crazies tonight.
Exterior, Massachusetts Turnpike, night. Sue's SUV sits motionless on a traffic-choked highway. Brake lights cast an eerie glow on wisps of falling snow. Interior, Ford Expedition, night. Sue grips the steering wheel, frustrated at the traffic. She dials her phone. The dash display reads, Maryland. I glance at the dash clock. It reads 6:48 p.m.
Marilyn, I'm so sorry. The party ran late. Traffic is a mess, and it looks like a storm is coming in. How's my baby girl?
There's no need to apologize. Lily's great. We just finished dinner, and I think we're going to sit down to watch a movie.
Do you mind staying a little late tonight?
Of course not, Mrs. Young.
A gray van jerks into Sue's lane. Sue slams on her brakes, curses loudly as she hangs up.
God fucking damn.
Immediately, a beep signals an incoming call. She taps answer.
Hello?
A male
Susan?
voice replies.
Susan?
Brad? Everything okay?
Is this Susan Young?
Sue glances at the caller ID. It reads unknown. Annoyed, she disconnects. Moments later, the phone rings again. Caller ID, unknown. She answers, perturbed.
Whatever you're selling, I'm not buying. Take me off your call list.
She hangs up the phone line. Exterior, Concord Neighborhood Street, night. The expedition crawls through the snow-covered streets of a wooded rural neighborhood. Exterior, Sue's house, night. The SUV parks in the driveway of Sue's large colonial home. Interior, entry hall, night. Sue walks in and is greeted by her nanny, Marilyn, 28, who takes Sue's coat and hands her a glass of wine. Sue sets her cell phone on a side table. She moves towards the living room expectantly, but Marilyn touches her arm and points down the hall. Interior, study, night. Toys are everywhere and a muted TV plays cartoons. One wall is filled with framed pictures of Sue, Phil, and Lily. Sue's daughter, Lily, too, is asleep on the couch. Marilyn starts to straighten the room.
Which movie did you guys end up watching?
Doesn't matter. She fell asleep about halfway through.
Sue eases onto the couch next to Lily.
Besides, I think she likes watching them better with you.
Sue hums the tune from Itsy Bitsy Spider and tenderly strokes Lily's hair.
A man called earlier, said you had an appointment tonight. I think I took the liberty of setting out that cute red dress you showed me.
Sue looks confused. Marilyn mistakes her reaction for anger.
I'm sorry. I just assumed you had a date.
It's okay, Marilyn. It's been almost a year. I should get on with my life.
Sue looks down at Lily.
I know he's not coming back. But every time the phone rings, I can't help thinking it's gonna be him.
Music starts blaring upstairs. Sue and Marilyn look up. Interior, master bedroom, night. Sue walks in. Her alarm clock blares. She smacks the off button. A slinky red dress has been neatly laid out. She picks it up, models it in front of a full-length mirror. She smiles for a moment. Then the smile fades. She tosses the dress on the bed, lifts her shirt, and lowers her pants a little. In the reflection, a cesarean scar runs just above her panty line. She touches it, her face sad. She lowers her shirt, her gaze moves to her face. She touches the scar on her chin. She shakes her head, takes a deep drink of her wine, and turns to leave. Interior, study, night. Sue walks downstairs back into the study.
I really appreciate you staying late, Marilyn. If you have to go,
Marilyn and Lily are gone. Lily's blanket lies on the floor. Sue frowns. Interior, Lily's bedroom, night. Sue looks in Lily's room, but they're nowhere to be seen. Interior, kitchen, night. Sue jumps playfully into the kitchen.
Gotcha!
Nobody there. Interior, living room, night. Sue peeks behind the sofa, then in the closet. Nothing. The ring on her cell phone carries from the entry hall. Interior, entry hall, night. Sue walks over. The display on the phone reads Marilyn. Confused, she picks it up.
Where are you guys? I've looked everywhere.
A male voice replies.
Hello, Susan.
Sue checks the phone display, puzzled.
Who is this?
Your daughter is very lovely.
Sue's eyes widen, then narrow to slits.
Is this some sort of joke?
Gorgeous green eyes, precious blonde hair, and that smile, Susan. She certainly favors you.
Sue's mouth moves, but no sound comes out.
Susan? Are you there?
Interior, house, night. Sue races from room to room, looking for Lily, panicked.
I haven't lost you, have I? Susan?
Sue tries to speak. Her voice is a harsh croak.
Hey. Who the hell is this?
We'll get to that, Susan.
Where's Lily?
With me, of course. You don't think I'd leave a defenseless child unattended, do you?
Where's...
Your nanny? She's here, too. We're all here, Susan.
Sue tries to hold it together.
Let me talk to my daughter, please.
Voice takes on a sickly sweet demeanor.
Soon, I promise. But first, we need to establish a few ground rules to prevent any misunderstandings later on.
What do you want?
I don't want you to do anything that would endanger Lily. Calling the police is out of the question, I'm afraid. If you do, I will know. Are you with me so far?
Yes, but...
Good.
The line goes dead. Sue gasps for breath. Her phone rings. She flinches, almost drops the phone. The display reads unknown. She hits answer.
Please let me talk to her.
There's noise in the background. A party.
It's me, Brad. I just want to let you know that I really
Brad, I can't talk to you right now.
She hangs up. Her entire body shakes. The phone rings. She presses answer.
Who was that, Susan?
One of my employees. I didn't tell him anything.
Brad, isn't it? I told you I was listening. An unexpected test, but you did very well. I believe you're ready to move to the next level.
Please just let me talk to her.
The line is silent for a painful second.
Absolutely. I always keep my promises, Susan. Remember that.
The man's voice is replaced by a child's soft breathing. Susan's composure evaporates.
Lily, honey, it's Mommy. Can you hear me, sweetie?
Lily gurgles. Sue's face is a mixture of joy and terror.
She's very good with strangers.
I'll give you anything. I have lots of money. Anything you want. Just please don't hurt her. Please.
Her plea is met with a terrible silence.
I won't hurt her if you do exactly as I say, Susan. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. Go outside and get in your car. You've got 30 seconds.
She hangs up and races out the door. Exterior, Sue's house, night. Sue races out the door, up to her car. She yanks at the door. Her hand slips off the handle. She tries again. It opens, and she jumps in. The phone rings as she lands in the seat.
I'm here.
Start the engine.
Sue looks around. No keys.
I didn't bring the keys.
I'm not a big believer in second chances, Susan. This is the only one you'll get tonight.
Thank you.
I need you to listen quietly for just a moment. Can you do that?
Yes.
The line goes quiet, but the caller is still there. Sue's eyes wander, land on the box of slowly defrosting lobsters.
I'm holding a knife in my right hand. I've had this knife for many years, but it looks brand new. It's terribly sharp.
Sue groans.
In 12 hours, I'm going to plant this knife in little Lily's throat. Her body will never be found. Do you believe me, Susan?
Sue cries openly.
That's not going to help.
I believe you.
Why?
Because you always keep your promises.
Very good. But you can save her. Do you want to save Lily, Susan?
Yes.
Good. Go back into the house and get your boots, a jacket, a pair of gloves, and a flashlight. Then go to the garden shed and get the shovel, the tarp, and the yellow nylon rope on the hook. I'll call back in 3 minutes. If you miss my call...
I understand.
Good. And Susan, don't forget the car keys.
Caller hangs up. Sue launches out of the vehicle. Interior, Sue's house, night. Sue slams in through the kitchen door. She grabs her coat, puts it on, grabs her boots, shoves her feet in them, and races over to the desk near the door. She opens a drawer, grabs a flashlight, and puts her keys and gloves in her pocket. She flies out the door. Interior, shed, night. It's dark, and Sue searches quickly, grabbing the shovel, the tarp, and the rope. Exterior, side yard, night. Sue races around the corner towards the expedition. She hits a patch of ice and goes sprawling. Everything in her arms flies out into the snow. Her phone rings in the SUV. She panics. Where is everything? Ring. She grabs the rope, the flashlight, pockets them. Ring. She drags the tarp and runs to the SUV. Interior, expedition, night. Sue leaps into the vehicle, snatches the phone, and answers.
I'm here. I'm here.
She looks at the ignition and then reaches into her jacket pocket for the keys, but they aren't there.
You made it.
Panicking, Sue pats down her clothing for the keys.
I don't have my keys. I fell and I lost them in the snow.
You had your second chance, Susan.
She grips the steering wheel in frustration, shaking it madly. Something jingles. She dumps out her pockets, the rope, the flashlight, and the gloves.
Listen closely, because you're about to hear me slit your baby's throat.
Bingo, the keys slide from inside her shaking hand.
Wait, I have them.
She slips the keys into the ignition. The dashboard lights up.
Are you there? Please.
Do you have everything else?
Sue glances at the inventory, remembers the shovel. She looks out the windshield. It's nowhere in sight.
Yes.
All right then. Start the car and head east towards Route 2. Go 23 miles and exit at Everett Road. Then head north.
Yeah, okay.
No stopping. Every minute counts, and I'll be watching. So if you call or speak to anyone...
The threat hangs in the air. Then he's gone. Interior, expedition, night. Traffic is heavy, but it's moving. Sue's glance wavers only long enough to read each street sign. The sign for Everett Road appears. She exits. It's a 2-lane road leading off into the dark. She touches the dashboard controls for her phone and dials 911. Her thumb hovers over the send button.
God damn it!
She presses the end button and instead turns the radio on.
Big snowstorm batters the northeast. At least 2 feet is expected to fall in.
She smacks the radio off, frustrated. Her phone rings and she answers.
You know the town of Grey Haven?
I grew up there.
You left something there that's very important to me. Tonight, you're going to retrieve it.
I don't know what you're...
Playing dumb only puts my knife closer to Lily's throat.
I'm sorry. I'll do whatever you want. Please.
There's a long, considered silence.
Long time ago, you and your friend did something that neither of you will ever forget. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Sue's eyes widen with terror. She rubs the scar on her chin.
Yes.
Do you remember the place?
I know it.
Good. It's time to pay your respect, Susan. I'll call back in 30 minutes. Don't be late.
Exterior, Grey Haven, night. A sign at the edge of town. Grey Haven, established 1802. The expedition passes shuttered shops with broken neon signs. The town is a ghost of its former self. Exterior, playground, night. Sue stands in front of the SUV. Its headlights illuminate the swing set from her memories. Her phone rings. She answers it, but says nothing.
I've been waiting.
What do you want me to do?
Get the shovel and the tarp out of the back. The flashlight, too. It's very dark under the bridge.
Is that where you are?
The line is already dead. Sue gets back in the vehicle and drives towards the bridge. Exterior, under the bridge, night. Weeds and trash poke up through the snow. Sue's flashlight illuminates the strange statue from her childhood. She reaches the spot under the bridge where she and Phil once stood together. A voice from the past echoes in her head.
Can't tell anyone.
Her cell phone rings, and she answers.
I'm here.
Twigs rustle in the dark. Sue's eyes dart back and forth.
Where are you?
Start digging.
She looks at her bare hands and the frozen ground.
I dropped my shovel when I fell.
Aside from the other end.
I hope your hands are up to the task then. You have 1 hour.
The sound of Lily breathing on the line, then it goes dead. Sue pockets the phone, drops to her knees, starts to dig. Later, Sue cries as she kneels in a 2-foot hole in the ground. Her fingers are bleeding, but she doesn't stop. There, a bit of tattered black plastic. Sue pauses, then clears the remaining dirt. She stands and her phone rings. She opens it.
Time is almost up.
It's right here.
Put it in the truck.
What?
You heard me.
Sue's eyes flick from the SUV to the body.
I can't. It's too big.
Her reply is met with silence.
Haven't I done everything you asked? I didn't call the police.
She listens hard, finally hears breathing on the other end.
Okay. I'll give her to you in the morning.
Sue shudders as relief floods her entire body.
I'll give her body to you in a little basket. And in another little basket will be her heart. And in another, her liver. And her eyes will arrive in 2 tiny baskets.
Please don't hurt Lily.
Voice grows impatient.
Pick it up! Put it in the car!
Sue can't bring herself to touch the body.
You failed to bring the shovel. You took too long getting here, and now you refuse to do as I ask.
Sue doesn't respond.
I'm going to have to punish you.
Wait. I'll do it, please.
Sue puts the phone in her pocket. She stares at the thing in the bag for a long moment, forces herself to get a grip on it. She drags it, heaves. It's almost too much, but it begins to slide out of the hole. Then something in the bag snaps, pops loose. She drops it. The outline of a human face presses against the plastic. Sue turns and vomits into the snow, steels herself, and then drags the load to the SUV. Moments later, Sue hefts the body back into the back of the SUV, closes the hatch, and moves to the driver's door. Interior, expedition, night. Sue gets in, shuts the door, and shudders. Out of the corner of her eye, she sees someone in her passenger seat. She scrambles back against the door and reaches for the dome light. It flicks on. It's Marilyn. Her head is wrenched sideways, facing Sue, neck obviously broken. Her hair is soaked with dark blood. And her eyes. Her eyes have been scooped out, leaving dark, hollow sockets. Sue screams, terrified beyond words. Scrambles to get away, opens the door and falls backwards into the snow. She lies there for a minute crying for her dead friend. Then she gets to her feet and approaches the vehicle. She shines her flashlight on Marilyn's body. A sheet of paper is stuck to Marilyn's shirt. A single word is scrawled across it. Punished. And once more the phone rings.
I always keep my promises, Susan. No second chances.
You didn't have to kill her. She didn't do anything wrong.
You're wasting time you don't have. Now get in the car. We've got a long road to travel.
Sue takes a deep breath and wrestles with herself.
Okay.
She gets back into the expedition. Interior, expedition, night. Sue starts the engine, glances at Marilyn and shudders.
I can't drive with her body sitting there.
Death can be ugly. I'll understand if you move her to the back seat, but first, you need to look at the note I left you.
I saw it.
Look again.
Sue looks. Under the blood, a map of eastern Massachusetts. Sue removes it, places it on the dashboard, and exits the SUV. Exterior, expedition, night. Sue walks around to the passenger door, opens it. She grabs Marilyn by the arms, drags her out, but the weight is too much. Sue stumbles and they both fall into the snow. Marilyn's bloody face lands right next to Sue's. She screams and crawls from under the gore-covered body. Interior, expedition, night. The rear passenger seat door opens. Sue slides the body into the back seat. Blood oozes from its eyes and mouth. Sue makes a disgusted face and rolls the body onto the floor. It lands face up. She covers it with a blanket. Moments later, Sue sits in the driver's seat, staring at the map. She picks up the phone and speaks.
It's a map.
It's your route for the rest of the night. First stop is Greyhaven. If you get started now, you'll be in White's Cove by 7:30 a.m.
Several towns are circled. Greyhaven, Winslow, Stoneview, Ashford, Wickham, East Newbury, and White's Cove.
I've never even heard of most of these places. What happens when I get to White's Cove?
You'll know by the time you get there.
That's where I get Lily back?
11 South Ocean Avenue. But if you arrive even 1 minute late, or if you use any other route...
11 South Ocean Avenue.
And Susan, don't forget to look at the statues.
The caller is gone. Sue sits for a second, fear and anger growing into rage. She screams, slams her fists against the dash. Suddenly, her passenger door opens and a man climbs into the passenger seat. Sue screams and starts hitting and kicking him wildly. But it's only a teenage boy, Jeff Tatum, 18. He does his best to fend off Sue's attack.
Please, ow, Miss Young, ooh.
At the mention of her name, Sue pauses.
How do you know my name?
I'm here to warn you.
Jeff points out the rear window.
About him.
A van approaches from behind. Sue panics.
Get out, he can't find you here.
Jeff scrambles to the passenger side floor. The box of lobsters makes it cramped, but he wedges in out of sight.
There's no time.
The van drives slowly and stops next to the expedition. Sue peers into its darkened windows, desperate for a glimpse of Lily, but sees nothing. From inside the van, a flashlight shines in Sue's face. The light moves to the passenger seat. As it does, Jeff cowers, shrinks away from it. It misses him, moves to the back seat, settles on the shrouded form of Marilyn's corpse, then winks out. The van revs and drives away. Sue puts the expedition into gear and follows, but lets the van get some distance. Jeff starts to crawl up from the floor.
Stay down, sit down. How do you know my name?
Jeff stays low, sees the bloody map, and takes it from Sue.
What does punished mean?
Sue points to the back seat, indicating Marilyn.
That son of a bitch in the van, he killed my nanny and left her body here to punish me. Now answer my question.
Jeff glances over the seat, sees the blanket-covered body. He swallows hard. His eyes return to the map. He reads the town names.
You can't follow this route.
Sue glares at Jeff.
I don't know who the hell you are, but he has my daughter. As soon as he's out of sight, I'm pulling over and you're getting out.
Hold on. My name is Jeff Tatum. I'm here because your husband knew about the route and asked us to protect you from it in case...
You know my husband?
My uncle does. They figured a lot of it out.
A lot of what? Where's Phil?
Jeff shakes his head.
My uncle hasn't heard from him in over a month.
If you don't know where he is, then why are you here?
I told you to stop you from driving this route.
He'll kill my daughter if I don't go to every town on this map. All the way to White's Cove.
Jeff traces a finger along the map and begins to speak.
Ocean Street in Old White's Cove. Across the virgin land he drove.
What?
It's a poem my uncle taught me. He said I should teach it to you in case there's an emergency.
How will a poem help me in an emergency?
He removes a piece of paper from his pocket.
It's like a charm. It's like a charm. I know it sounds crazy, but he said it has some sort of power over him when he's near.
Power over who?
Isaac Hamilton. My uncle thinks the poem hurts him or pushes him away or something. Not for long, but sometimes that's all it takes.
He reads the rest of the poem line by line.
To paint each town and hamlet red, with the dying and the dead. He walked through Wickham and Newbury, walked through in Ashford or Stoneview he might tarry, to call a child to his knee, where he slew it, 1, 2, 3. Then from Winslow to Greyhaven, where he may begin again, bedecked in his holy shroud, to paint the Commonwealth with blood.
Who is Isaac Hamilton?
Jeff points to the back seat at Marilyn.
The guy who did that. You probably know him as the Harvester.
Sue's eyes grow wide. She glances in a rearview mirror toward the body in the plastic garbage bag.
That's not possible.
Her phone rings, scaring them both. She answers, and the voice on the other end of the line comes through the interior hands-free speakers.
Hello, Susan. How's your passenger?
Passenger?
Sue looks at Jeff, holds her finger to her lips.
Marilyn. I took her eyes. They are the window to the soul, after all. Susan, are you still there?
Up ahead, a road sign reads, Winslow, established 1802.
I'm here.
Exterior, Winslow, night. The SUV drives slowly through downtown Winslow, which is only marginally less depressing than Greyhaven. Most street lights are on, and a recent movie is listed on the theater marquee. In the distance, next to a park, the van sits idling. Its emergency lights flash on and off. Interior, Expedition, night. Jeff panics and scrambles over into the back seat, careful to avoid touching Marilyn's body. Expedition approaches to within 30 feet of the van and stops. Sue drums her fingers on the steering wheel.
Now what?
As if on command, an arm shoots out of the van's passenger window, points towards the park. Sue looks in the direction. A statue stands out amidst the snow-covered branches. The arm gestures again, adamant. Sue gets the message.
Wait. Take this, just in case.
He hands her the poem. She takes it and opens the door. Exterior, Winslow Park, night. Sue stands in front of the statue. It's the same grim, angry man with the bone saw, identical to the one in the playground in Greyhaven, except that it's missing one arm. But the arm isn't broken. It was never there to begin with. She glances at the van, back at the statue.
Why does he want me to see this?
Sue looks at the snow-covered plaque. She clears the snow away and reads it.
Isaac Hamilton.
She thinks for a second, looks at the poem in her hand.
From Ocean Street in Old White's Cove, across the virgin land he drove.
Pain. Sue cries out. clutches her stomach and doubles over in excruciating pain. She falls to her knees and gasps. Then, just as suddenly, the pain is gone. She stands, looks at the van, the statue, the SUV, her face full of unanswerable questions. Interior, expedition night. Sue gets back in and closes the door.
What happened?
Before she can answer, movement from the passenger seat floor draws her attention. The box of lobsters shifts from side to side, followed by scraping sounds, then by angry snapping and scuttling.
What the?
Outside, the van pulls away towards the next town. Sue reaches for the box when a red claw bursts through the flap and latches onto her hand, trapping her fingers.
Wait, what's wrong? What's wrong?
Sue lifts her hand. A pissed-off lobster is attached to it. Jeff peeks over the seat, sees the lobsters.
Why the fuck do you have live lobsters in your car?
The van's brake lights flash red. Its reverse lights flare, and it backs up towards the SUV.
He's coming back. Stay down.
She struggles with the lobster, slams it hard on the dash, but it won't let go. She cries from the pain. The van outside is close now. Finally, an idea. She opens her window, hangs the lobster out, closes the window, amputating the lobster. Sue pries the claw off and tosses it out. She puts the car in drive and pulls forward a few yards. Exterior, expedition night. Sue's vehicle backs up, rolling over the crustacean. Then she creeps forward, stopping so that the rear wheel is on top of it, then punches it, burning out. The lobster is a mashed mess in the snow. Interior, expedition night. She puts her injured finger in her mouth and winces.
What's happening?
Sue looks at the tipped-over lobster box on the floor. The side of the box reads, 2 fresh frozen lobsters. It's empty. Outside, the van turns around and points directly at the expedition. Its high beams flare brightly in Sue's face. Sue looks nervous. The dark form of a man appears in front of the van. The lights from behind all but blinding. He has a rifle in one hand.
He's coming. Get under the blanket.
Are you crazy?
Despite his protests, Jeff lifts the blanket and hides underneath, face to face with Marilyn. He gags but manages to hold down the urge to vomit. Somewhere underneath Sue's seat, she hears the second lobster rustling around. The man in the street lifts his hand. He holds his cell phone. Sue's phone rings.
Is there a problem, Susan?
She racks her brain in an attempt to stall.
There was a lobster. It pinched my hand and...
A lobster? Surely Susan knew.
Jeff gags in the back seat again.
Is someone with you?
No.
The man walks up to the SUV, the light still masking him.
Mind if I take a look?
I'm alone.
The man opens the back passenger door. Sue sits frozen with fear and holds her breath. A flashlight shines on Sue, then on the blanket, which appears to be Marilyn. It hangs there for what feels like an eternity. Then, click, click, the second lobster emerges from under the seat. It snaps its claws and disappears under the blanket. Another click, then a shout of pain erupts from Jeff. The man yanks the blanket away and sees Jeff. He raises a rifle, takes him, and pulls the trigger. Blam! Sue screams and Jeff in pain. The man pulls the trigger again. Nothing. The gun is empty. He calmly walks back to the van. Sue turns to Jeff.
Jeff!
Jeff struggles to sit up, turns towards Sue, but she gasps. The entire lower half of his face is a bloody, mangled mess.
I don't feel so good.
Don't try to move.
She covers her mouth and cries. Jeff touches the remains of his face. His hand draws back.
Oh, man.
He coughs a hideous bubbling sound and slumps.
Don't.
He launches into a violent coughing fit.
Sorry.
He falls silent. Sue cries. Out of nowhere, thump, the man has jumped onto the hood of the SUV. He climbs onto the roof, which buckles with each step. Blam! A shotgun blast rips a hole in the roof. Jeff's body spasms. Sue covers her ears and screams. Blam! Another hole appears and Jeff's dead body jerks. The man on the roof jumps down, grabs Jeff's body, and drags it away towards the van. Sue watches in horror as he throws the body in his vehicle like it's a rag doll. Exterior, Winslow Park, night. The van slowly pulls away. Interior, Expedition, night. Sue's chest heaves. She draws in panic breath. She gets herself under control and watches the taillights of the van disappear into the darkness. From below her seat, Sue hears the other lobster moving. Exterior, Expedition, night. Angry, Sue jumps out of the Expedition.
God damn it!
She shoves her arm under the seat, searches blindly. There, she's got it. She yanks the other lobster out by the tail. It's somehow more pissed than the first one, click-clacking its claws, trying to get Sue. Sue heaves the lobster at the side of the SUV. It bounces off and lands in the snow. She stares at it, angry but afraid. It starts to move. She kicks it hard, sending it into the darkness.
Take that, you fucking sea cockroach!
Interior, Expedition, night. Sue opens the door and slumps in her seat. Her rage transforms into sobs. The phone rings. She takes a long time, but finally answers.
You bastard.
This boy's death is on your hands, Susan. Deviation from the plan must be punished.
You sick motherfucker.
It'll all be over soon. But you're not going to save your daughter sitting there.
Sue wipes her eyes, puts the SUV in gear.
That's a good girl.
Interior, Expedition, night, later. The SUV races to keep up with the van, which is barely visible in the falling snow.
Are you beginning to understand what's happening? The changes.
What changes?
A sigh from the other end of the line.
Not wondering how frozen lobsters can come back to life? And what about you? Are you feeling any different?
Sue doesn't know how to respond.
You're not paying attention, Susan. I'm afraid you might need to be punished again to open your eyes.
Sue grips the wheel tightly with both hands.
No more punishments. Please. Just tell me what changes.
I want you to see. I want you to look at yourself and see.
Why?
When you get to Stoneview, you'll see a place called Babes. I'll call you when.
Please, please don't.
Sue searches for something to say. Then it comes to her.
Who was Isaac Hamilton?
Ah, you are beginning to understand.
It's a statue in every town.
Babes, Susan. I'll see you there.
The line goes dead. Sue stares out at the cold, dark road. Exterior, Stoneview, night. The town is a dead husk. The SUV rolls past dark stores, a dead gas station, an abandoned fire department. Interior, Expedition, night. Sue presses her palm to her belly. The pain has returned. She passes Stoneview's town park. In it, another statue. This time, both arms are missing. Sue stares at it for a second. It's clear the arms were never part of the statue.
Hamilton.
Exterior, Expedition, night. Sue steps out of the SUV as a car approaches from behind. It's a police car. On its side, Ashford Police Department. It drives past her slowly. Sue freezes mid-motion. Her eyes follow the car as it cruises by. The cop in the passenger seat glances at her, tips his cap. The car keeps going, and her moment is lost.
Just let it go by, Sue. Great job.
A blinking neon light in the distance catches her eye. It says, Babes. Exterior, Babes, night. Several abandoned vehicles are parked at odd angles in front of Babes, a sleazy strip club. Sue's cell phone rings.
I'm here.
I see that, Susan.
Sue looks around and sees the van in a handicap spot.
What am I doing here?
Go around to the back entrance. You'll see a door marked Employees. Go through it and wait. And keep your phone close.
For what?
No answer. The caller is gone. Interior, Babe's kitchen, night. Sue enters. The place is a giant health code violation. The muffled thump, thump, thump of music from the business end of Babe's beats like a grotesque heartbeat. Sue finds the door marked Employees and walks through into interior, Babe's dressing room, night. A counter covered with makeup, cotton balls, and wads of Kleenex. A single bare bulb hangs from the ceiling. Sue looks at it like it's an alien planet. On the far wall, a red curtain. Lights and movement on the other side draw her close. She peeks through and sees a stage with a stripper pole, but there is no audience. Beyond that, her vision is blocked by the intense bright lights meant to illuminate the act. She closes the curtain, looks uncertain.
Take off your clothes.
He's right on the other side of the curtain. Sue backs away.
What?
You heard me.
Sue doesn't move.
Take off your clothes, and I'll let you see Lily. She's out here with me, on the other side of the curtain.
Susan struggles internally, then takes off her jacket. Her shoes and pants come off next. Exterior, stage, night. The red curtain parts and Sue steps out. Still in her bra and panties, she covers herself modestly. The lights blind her, the music deafening. She tries to look past the lights, then notices a large mirror on the wall to her right. She stares at it. A woman she doesn't recognize stares back. It's her reflection, but her hair is frazzled and matted with blood, and her body is pure white. She walks as if in a daze towards her reflection. Her eyes slowly scan down until she sees her belly. In the reflection, no scar. She looks down. The scar's gone, completely gone. She looks at her chin. That scar's gone too. The music continues thumping. A spotlight bursts to life on Sue, then drops to the floor and slowly weaves away towards the front end of the stage. Sue follows it with her eyes. Then, in the light, a glimpse of Lily. She lies motionless in her stroller, oblivious to the noise. Sue leaps from the stage, lands hard, twisting her ankle. Hobbles over to her daughter. Lily's eyes open. She looks up, mouths the words.
Mama.
Sue weeps, tries to pick her up, but Lily is strapped down. From behind, someone grabs Sue. A grimy hand clamps over her mouth. An arm wraps around her waist. Whoever it is drags Sue away from Lily and towards the front entrance. She screams, tries to break free, but can't. Exterior, Babes, night. The door to Babes opens. Sue is shoved out into the snow. She falls into the frozen, snow-covered sidewalk. She lies there for a second, crying. Then she gets
God damn
the
you!
door to Babes. From the parking lot, the van pulls out. The side door opens and something is shoved out into the snow. It's a stroller. It tips forward, face down. Sue breaks into a run as the van peels away.
No, Lily!
She reaches the stroller, flips it over. No Lily. The stroller contains Sue's clothes and her cell phone. Interior, expedition, night. Sue sits in the driver's seat, pulls her shirt on. Her teeth chatter from the cold. Her phone rings. She answers.
Time is short, Susan. You should probably get moving.
One hand on her stomach, the other to her chin.
My scars.
Healed?
Sorry, I couldn't.
Blood tissue restored?
The lobsters. They came back to life.
Did they?
That's impossible.
But you've seen it for yourself, Susan. You felt it, too.
It can't be real.
It's as real as the knife I'm holding to little Lily's throat. And the longer you wrestle with this, the closer the knife gets.
Sue's mind searches for answers, and she remembers.
It's something to do with the root. These towns.
Bravo. But do you understand the significance of what you are doing?
Yes.
A brief pause, then.
No, you don't. Not yet. but you will.
I understand. Please. My baby.
Stay the route, and Lily will be safe and sound. The next town is waiting.
The line goes dead. Sue starts to pull away, but she's missing the map. Sue looks around the expedition, but it's not there. Did she have it on her when she went inside? Out the passenger door window, she sees a body laying in the snow. Exterior, expedition night. Sue gets out, walks over to the form in the snow. It's Marilyn. Sadness consumes Sue, but she must move on. She turns to leave, then notices the map tucked in the corpse's shirt, the map she'll need to stay the route. She reaches down to take a map when Marilyn's head rotates towards her. Her arms reach out as if to grab Sue. She falls back into the snow, horror etched in her eyes. Marilyn sits up, turns her head this way and that. Sue scrambles to her feet, bolts to her vehicle.
Someone there? Hello?
Sue skids to a halt, turns. Marilyn's head cocks, listens for sound.
Please, I can't see anything. I think something is wrong with me.
Marilyn?
Sue walks towards Marilyn, wary.
What happened?
Can you stand?
Marilyn tries to stand, but then shakes her head. She holds out a beckoning hand. Sue hesitates, takes the hand, and pulls her to her feet. Marilyn looks absolutely horrible. She hugs Sue. Sue hugs her back. Marilyn squeezes Sue tight.
How do you feel?
Then the embrace grows tighter, and Sue grimaces. Marilyn puts her blood-covered mouth next to Sue's ear.
I feel great, Susan.
It's Marilyn's mouth moving, but it's Hamilton speaking.
Never better, in fact.
Sue struggles, breaks free, runs to her SUV, map in hand. She jumps into the expedition and locks the door. Marilyn shambles over to the SUV and stands at Sue's door. A hideous smile spreads across her bloody face.
Do you believe me now, Susan?
Marilyn turns and shambles away. Interior, expedition night. Sue is off the reservation, freaked out, but pulls it together. Her phone rings and she picks it up.
Well, do you believe?
I think I understand.
Good. So now you know that I'm not just some random kidnapper.
Why are you doing this to me?
Ashford, 41 miles. Better get going. Tick-tock.
The line disconnects. Sue jams the car into drive and pulls into the darkness. Interior, expedition night. Heavy snowfall pelts the windshield, making vision poor. The van, barely visible, pulls away. Sue speeds up. The snow is blinding. The van's lights are lost far ahead. And Sue's mind wanders. Begin flashback. Interior, Sue's house, day. Phil stands in the doorway, suitcase at his side. His head hangs in shame.
It's better this way. I don't expect you to understand.
All the phone calls? Is that your girlfriend calling? Is that it?
No, it's not like that.
You said you would never leave.
I'm sorry.
Back to scene. Sue pulls the SUV to a stop in the middle of the empty highway. Tears spill down her cheeks.
Don't worry. I'll protect you.
Sue stares into the darkness. Then it hits her.
You'll have to protect me.
From behind, red and blue flashing police lights appear and illuminate the inside of the SUV. Exterior, expedition night. Sue pulls the SUV over to the side of the road. The cop car, the same one that drove her by her in Stoneview, pulls up. Sue rolls down the window as Officer Jim O'Donnell, 30s, saunters up, smooths his hair.
Evening, ma'am. Kind of late to be driving around in the middle of nowhere, isn't it?
Sue stares at the cop, eyes wide with fear.
Is something wrong, ma'am?
I'm fine.
Where are you headed?
Ashford,
Well, there's a winter storm warning in effect, ma'am. You shouldn't be on the road.
it's an emergency.
What kind of emergency?
Sue searches frantically for a story.
My daughter, she's I have to get to Ashford.
The officer senses something's not quite right.
License and registration, please.
She hands it to him.
Stay in your vehicle.
Sue watches the officer walk back to his car. His partner types something on a keyboard. She stares at her cell phone. It sits there, silent. The officer returns.
Ms. Young, are you sure there's nothing you want to tell me?
She shakes her head.
What's your daughter's name?
Lily?
And your emergency couldn't wait until morning?
No. It's very important that I get her back tonight.
I see.
O'Donnell sighs, hands back her ID and papers.
All right, but I want you to promise that you'll stay in Ashford until the weather clears.
Thank you.
O'Donnell turns to go, but a glance inside the rear of the SUV reveals the gunshot holes in the roof and blood. He draws his sidearm and points it at Sue.
Ma'am, step out of the car and keep your hands where I can see them.
Sue reaches for the door handle, then stops. Officer O'Donnell yells to his partner.
Bobby, get out here. I need backup.
Officer Bobby Finn, 30s, exits his car, approaches the SUV.
I know how this looks.
Remove the key from the ignition and step out of the car now.
O'Donnell, shaking, steps forward and places the muzzle of his revolver at Sue's temple.
Now, I'm not going to tell you again.
Officer Finn shines a light in the back of the SUV. His eyes go wide.
Body here, Jimbo.
O'Donnell backs towards his partner, keeps the gun trained on Sue. He looks in the back.
Oh, shit.
Sue sees her chance, drops the car into gear, and stomps the gas pedal. The SUV rockets forward. The officers jump out of the way. Interior, expedition, night. The SUV races down the highway, but Sue's eyes are glued to the rearview mirror. Red and blue lights close the gap. Interior, police car, night. O'Donnell expertly maneuvers the cop car and quickly sidles up to the SUV. He rams the side of the expedition. Interior, expedition, night. Sue screams each time the cop car slams into the SUV. She wrestles the steering wheel to stay on the road. Exterior, road, night. The cruiser slams into the SUV again and again. The SUV finally fishtails and drifts off the road, finally coming to a stop in the snowbank. Sue slumps, defeated. Interior, police car, night. Both officers fly out of the vehicle and run to the SUV with guns drawn. Exterior, expedition, night. O'Donnell opens the door, grabs Sue, yanks her out, and throws her to the ground. He pulls out his revolver and points it at her. Finn pins her down and cuffs her. O'Donnell pulls a card from his shirt pocket.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be held against you in a court of law.
I'm telling the truth! My daughter was kidnapped. I've got to save her.
The officers ignore her.
God damn it, listen to me!
Frustrated, she kicks at the security barrier. O'Donnell turns and slams his fist against the barrier.
Knock it off.
He turns to Flynn.
Crazy bitch.
A sign flashes by. Sue sees it. Ashford, established 1802.
Please, you have to believe me. Please.
Exterior, Ashford, night. The main drag is dark, but the town is still in good repair. The snow is recently cleared. Streetlights glow. They pass a park. Its statue has no arms and only one leg. Interior, Ashford Police Station, night. The officers lead Sue through booking and then take her to interior, interrogation room, night. O'Donnell sits Sue down, cuffs her to the table, and leaves. Sue can't control her anger. She yanks madly at her cuffs. Interior, detective's office, night. Detective Yates, 60s, a disheveled 30-year man looking forward to retirement, tends to paperwork. O'Donnell sticks his head in the office.
Got a live one for you.
Interior, interrogation room, night. Yates walks in, rubbing his tired eyes.
Detective Yates, first things first, where you read your remand out.
He looks up and sees Sue. His eyes fill with recognition.
Christ.
Please, you have to let me go.
Where's Jeff?
Sue stops, struggling, perplexed.
You all right? Answer me,
watches-
goddammit.
Sue doesn't know what to say and can only shake her head. Interior hallway, night. O'Donnell and Finn stand in the hall talking as Yates exits the interrogation room and marches towards his office. Interior, interrogation room, night. Yates walks in, sets a box filled with files on the table, then pulls a key from his pocket to remove Sue's handcuffs. Sue bolts, tries to fly past Yates. He grabs her, slams her back into her chair.
You have to let me go. My daughter is in trouble.
I need you to focus, Sue. If he has Lily, then both of your lives depend on it.
Sue reacts with shock at the mention of Lily's name.
How do you know about Lily?
Yates reaches for the box. Exterior, Ashford Police Station, night. The van pulls up in front of the station. It idles for a few seconds, then shuts down. Interior, interrogation room, night. The contents of the box are spread all over the table. All of it about the harvester.
This doesn't explain how you know about Lily.
Jeff is my nephew, one of just 3 children to escape the harvester.
He stares hard at Sue. She bites her lip.
Where is Jeff? I need to know.
Someone, the harvester attacked him. He took his body. I'm sorry.
He grabs one folder and removes the contents. Then he fans out several official-looking documents.
These are the police reports. They look old because they are. When Rebecca was taken,
Rebecca?
His first victim in the killing spree 20 years ago. She was just 8. She was my daughter.
I'm so sorry.
Yates gives a small nod, but his eyes betray a man who will never make peace with his pain. He changes the subject.
During my investigation, I found these. Each report ends the same way. They go back over 150 years.
Yates points to the dates on each document.
12 kids under the age of 13 murdered, all with the same MO as the harvester. Their eyes are removed, and he always comes back to steal the body afterward. The murder has never been caught.
150 years. How is that possible?
Sue opens another folder. The contents look a lot older than the rest. Ancient newspaper clippings, horrible black and white photos, bloody bits of cloth, a lock of hair.
He's been at this a long time.
She scans everything. A stream of common elements emerges. Murders along the route, the dead being dug up after burial, reports of mangled bodies walking in the night. Yates reaches into the bottom of the box and pulls out an ancient book. The cover is inscribed with a pentagram. Inside, dozens of drawings of human sacrifice, magical and satanic rituals, and tons of handwritten notes.
What's that?
I think it's the secret of the harvester. Phil gave it to me.
Exterior, Ashford Police Station, night. Obscured by the dark, a man steps out of the van and walks towards the station, a rifle slung over his shoulder. Interior, interrogation room, night. Sue flips through the book.
Is this why Phil left? He could have told me. There had to be another way.
I think he did what he had to do. This thing out there doesn't stop. It doesn't die. And according to Phil, he has a thing for you.
Sue grimaces, returns her attention to the book. She stops on a page with a drawing that shows a figure of a man who's been drawn and quartered, his head removed as well as his heart.
All of the statues are missing body parts. Just like the man in this drawing. Is this Isaac Hamilton?
You're quick. Took me weeks to figure that out.
Can this help me save my daughter?
Phil thought so.
Where is he?
I don't know. But I've had Jeff watching you since Phil went quiet.
Why is this book so important?
It tells how Hamilton became the harvester. It might tell us how to,
From somewhere in the building, the muffled reports of gunfire. Blam, blam, blam. Yates runs to the door, listens. Blam, another shot. Screams of agony quickly die out. Then silence. Interior, Ashford Police Station, night. O'Donnell and Finn lie dead on the floor. Bloody footprints lead toward the interrogation room. Interior, interrogation room, night. Yates has his sidearm out. Makes sure a round is chambered. His hands shake, but not his resolve.
if I don't come back, find a way to use that book and stop the bastard.
Before Sue can say a word, Yates is out the door. Sue rushes to the door, presses her ear to it. The sound of a struggle. The high-pitched bang, bang, bang of a handgun. A single rifle shot. Blam! Sue's hands clasp over her mouth. Silence. Then a weak knock at the door. Sue jumps away from it, thinks for a long moment, then makes her decision. She stuffs the book under her shirt and opens the door. A body blocks the way. Yates. He's bleeding from his side.
No!
She jumps to his aid and turns him over. His legs jerk from the pain and his mouth swing open.
I shot him. Point blank. No effect.
Yates pulls open his shirt, revealing a bulletproof vest.
I've been wearing this since Phil disappeared.
He touches his side. His fingers come away bloody.
God damn, that's smart. I guess I should have bought the deluxe model.
Can you move?
He takes stock of himself and nods.
Good. You're coming with me.
Interior, Ashford Police Station, front desk, night. Sue and Yates walk among the dead bodies of O'Donnell, Finn, and several other cops. Blood everywhere. They reach the front desk. On the counter, Sue's phone. It rings, and she answers.
You're a psychopathic murderer. You know that?
You're upset. I understand that and forgive you.
Why? Why kill all of these people?
I couldn't help but feel a tad responsible for you being in jail, so I cleared a path for you.
Sue stares at the bloody massacre surrounding her.
You'll find your car in the impound lot out back. Hurry, Susan. You still have a long way to go.
The line goes dead. Sue looks at Yates.
Impound lot.
Yates leads the way. Exterior, impound lot, night. Sue looks in the rear window of her SUV. The body in the bag is where she left it.
Great.
She makes sure the coast is clear and motions for Yates to get in the car. Interior, expedition, night. Sue starts the engine, but before she can put it in gear, a flicker of motion outside in the darkness catches her attention. Sue locks the doors on instinct. The dark figure lumbers awkwardly through the shadows. It's human-sized, but doesn't move like a human. It stops 50 feet in front of the SUV, swaying oddly. Sue turns on her headlights. It's Jeff, or what's left of him.
Oh, Christ!
Jeff stumbles towards the expedition.
That's not Jeff anymore.
Jeff drags himself over to the SUV as Yates uses the discarded blanket to stay out of sight in the back seat. Jeff's eyes are gone, replaced by something else dark and round but glowing. They flick back and forth, looking into the vehicle. He pounds at the window, growing stronger with each hit.
Stay the course, Sue.
From under the blanket,
The poem. Did Jeff give it to you?
she pulls the poem from her pocket, begins to read.
From Ocean Street and Old White's Cove, across the virgin land he drove.
Jeff's body spasms. He falls to the ground.
To paint each town and hamlet red with the dying and the dead.
With every word, Jeff writhes. He tears at his clothes, rips at his hair. His hand moves to his face.
He walked through Wickham and Newbury. In Ashford or Stoneview he might tarry, to call a child to his knee where he slew it. 1, 2...
In one quick movement, Jeff tears his own jaw off.
3, you sadistic son of a bitch!
Jeff's body collapses. Sue slams the SUV into gear and stomps the gas pedal. Exterior, snowy road, night. Sue's expedition lumbers through the night. Interior, expedition, night. Yates reads aloud from the book.
And forever shall your soul be cast from your body.
How can someone's soul be cast out of their body?
This might be hard to believe.
After everything that's happened tonight. Try me.
My research suggests that Hamilton's death has something to do with witches.
Witches.
It says back in 1801 that children started disappearing. The locals were so desperate that they employed a witch to help them.
He flips some pages, finds what he's looking for.
Her name is scratched out, but it says she managed to find Hamilton, and then, well, the locals kind of had their way with him.
What does that mean?
The van races past the SUV at high speed and disappears into the snowy darkness. Sue and Yates look at each other. Exterior, Wickham, night. The SUV drives through the town, past Wickham Savings and Loan and Wickham Bakery. The town is the most normal so far. A sign on the right reads, Wickham, established 1802. Interior Expedition, night. Yates continues flipping pages.
The locals burned him, but he came back to life. They drowned him. He came back again and again. The witch said he had a strange magic in him and that killing him the normal way wouldn't work.
Sue gets it. She points at the drawing of a metal box with a heart inside it.
So they pulled the bastard apart and buried the pieces all over.
Yates nods.
Then how does he keep coming back?
Exterior, Wickham, night. The van sits idling on the main road by a park. Near the entrance stands the next statue. Interior, Expedition, night. The snow falls heavier and Sue's wipers can barely keep up.
That's where the root comes in. I know it's the key, I just don't know why or how.
He opens the book, shows her a drawing. It's a simple map showing the same town names and route she is taking. At each city, a drawing of a body part. Between each city, squiggly lines mark the path. An arrow points to the lines annotated with strange magics.
Near as I can tell, even though his body parts are separate, they're still connected somehow. The harvester worked this exact route killing children.
So Hamilton's not really dead.
I don't think so. His parts are inside each of those statues, so he can't physically be the same person as the harvester.
But
Hamilton controls the dead. Like he was controlling Jeff. I'm sure of it. That means somehow he can revive the dead bodies and use them. I just don't know how.
he takes the eyes. Maybe they really are a window inside us. Whatever this strange magic is that connects his body parts, it must be a way to get inside of us.
A light bulb goes off in Sue's head.
If you drive the route, you get flooded with the magic.
She runs her hand along her belly where her scar used to be.
Lily was delivered by... Oh, and if you're alive, then he can't get inside. But your flesh is healed.
She lifts her shirt, shows him the area of her stomach where the scar was.
Lily was delivered by C-section. I had a big scar right there.
Yates glances over, then away, uncomfortable. She pushes on, trying to convince him.
See, it's gone.
A thought comes to her. She looks Yates straight in the eye.
What if he really can't be killed?
Sue turns her attention back to the road, and the van is right in her path. She hits the brakes. The expedition skids, slows, but rams hard into the van. The airbags deploy, saving Sue as she's flung forward. Yates isn't so lucky. He flies from the back seat through the front cabin and crashes headfirst into the windshield. Exterior, Wickham, night. Sue's door opens. She falls out, dazed. She looks back inside at Yates. He's not moving. She turns to the van. The rear doors are busted open. She stumbles over, looks inside. The bodies of Marilyn and Jeff lay in a twisted heap. The rest of the van is empty, except for Lily's car seat. Sue walks over, places a hand on the seat. It's still warm. She leans in, pushes her face to the fabric, then rears back and yells.
Where are you?
Behind her, in the darkness, her cell phone rings. She sighs, defeated, and walks towards the expedition. Movement inside the SUV. Sue doesn't see it. The body in the back, in the garbage bag, sits up. As Sue walks towards the vehicle, the head under the bag turns to follow her. Interior, expedition, night. Sue reaches in, grabs the cell phone. Exterior, expedition, night. Sue steps several feet away from the vehicle, then answers.
Where's my daughter?
Well, she's not in the van, thank goodness. You could have really hurt her with that reckless driving of yours, Susan.
Where is she?
She's with me, of course. You should worry less about where Lily is and more about where you need to be in 90 minutes. Lily's life is on the line.
White's Cove. I'll be there.
Good. And Susan, while I can't blame you for bringing along Detective Yates to help, I think he might need some help of his own.
Interior, expedition, night. Sue opens the door. Yates lies against the dash, bits of glass in his face and hair.
Oh no.
Yates opens his eyes, reaches up, touches the material of the airbag.
Definitely not the deluxe model.
He coughs. Blood dribbles from his mouth.
I'll call for help.
No time!
With effort, Yates manages to push himself up.
Give me a hand.
Exterior, expedition night. Sue helps him out of the SUV. He falls to his knees.
Go now. Save Lily.
You're hurt.
I'll be fine. Go!
He manages a weak smile. Sue is torn, but she nods. Exterior, rural road night. Snow falls lightly as the expedition speeds on. Interior, expedition night. Sue tries to focus on the road, but her eyes are tired. They flutter and slowly close. The dash clock reads 5:03 a.m. Exterior, Creek Bridge, day. Images from Sue's past flash by. Flashback. Phil and Sue dig a hole under the bridge. A body in a plastic bag flopping into the hole. Dirt piling on the body. Back to scene. Sue snaps awake. She's still on the road, but just barely. Her cell phone rings. She answers.
You were drifting. Lily is...
Tell me about the witch.
No response for a second, then a sigh.
Mr. Yates knew more than I'd expected.
I know about the route too. I also know your body's scattered across the countryside, so who attacked Phil and I when we were kids?
That was Gideon and I.
Hamilton's voice takes on a somber tone.
He died of cholera in 1840. His sister was taking his body back home for burial and followed the route. He was my first portal back into this world, my emissary, my new flesh.
But if he was already dead, then we couldn't have killed him. Why leave him in the ground for me to dig up tonight?
We've arrived.
I don't understand. If your body is still in pieces and Gideon's body is in the bag, who have I been talking to all this time?
No answer, just a deep, evil laugh. Exterior, expedition, night. The SUV slides to a stop and Sue's door flies open. She leaps out, runs to the back of the SUV. Hamilton's wicked laugh echoes from the phone. Sue yanks the hatch open. The body in the bag is motionless. She musters her courage and tears open the bag. Inside, a body dressed in a blue navy blazer, LL Bean khaki short, pants, and white Oxford shirt. She steps back, confused, lifts the phone to her ear.
This isn't the harvester.
No, Susan, it's not.
She examines the body. Her eyes finally land on the corpse's left hand. A wedding ring glints. Sue's eyes widen in horrific realization.
No.
She tears at the bag, revealing the corpse's face. It's Phil. He's covered with bruises and blood pools under his skin. He hasn't been dead long, the decay process barely begun. A beetle crawls out of his mouth. Sue gags, vomits, then cries with rage.
You bastard, you son of a bitch!
Why are you so angry, Susan? I've gone to quite a bit of effort to reunite you two lovebirds.
Sue sobs, barely able to stand. A shuffling sound from behind causes her to turn. Phil sits up, still in the bag. His strange eyes are just like the harvester's, but they lack the evil reddish glow.
Susan, is that you?
Sue drops the cell phone, tries to speak, but can't. She walks towards Phil, one arm reaching, then pulling away.
I thought you left. I thought you...
You killed me, Susan, but you brought me back. You saved me.
But Hamilton...
You haven't completed the trip, so I can keep him out, but not long.
Sue cries, leans down and helps him sit up.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't.
Phil reaches out, puts his hands on Sue's shoulders.
There is nothing to forgive, Susan.
Sue's crying slows, then stops. Something isn't right. She takes a step back.
You never call me Susan.
Phil sighs, a meaty, unpleasant gargle.
Not all the way back, Sue. Definitely not at my best.
He smiles. Another beetle crawls from his mouth, knocking a tooth out.
Think I can stand. Help me.
He reaches for her like a child. She hesitates, but finally relents and helps him up as she would an aging grandparent. He's unsteady for a second, then gets his footing, moves his arms and legs, flexes his hands. He smiles.
Thank you. I feel ready now.
Ready for what?
His smile twists into a snarl and he lunges at Sue, wraps his fingers around her throat. His voice turns sinister.
Ready to kill you, Susan.
Sue struggles, but Hamilton has taken over.
It took you long enough to figure it all out.
He spins and slams Sue against the SUV. She's stunned, but comes to and struggles to break Hamilton's grip. He lifts her off the ground. Her feet flail, her face red. She scratches at his face, punches, kicks, nothing.
Yes, Susan. Fight. It makes your death more delicious.
Phil holds Sue up with one arm, balls his fist and punches her in the stomach. Her eyes bug out from the impact. Another punch, this one to the face. She's nearly out. He drops her to the ground, kicks her savagely in the side. Sue whimpers and tries to crawl away into the snow. Phil follows behind, laughing.
There's no escape, Susan. Tonight you die, then you're mine forever.
Phil kicks her in the face, flipping her over. She moans, her nose and mouth bleeding.
No sense rushing things, though.
Another kick sends Sue sliding across the ice. She grabs at her belly, spits blood. He looks at the corpse that was once Phil, gathers what little energy she has.
From Ocean Street to Old White's Cove, across the virgin land he drove.
Phil grabs her, lifts her above his head with one arm.
What do you think you're doing?
He lifts her, throws her into the side of the SUV. She collapses but manages to crawl under the vehicle.
Paint each town hamlet red with the dying and the dead.
He reaches for her under the SUV, but she's out of reach.
That won't work.
Phil goes rigid, but only for a moment.
He walked through Wickham and Newbury, and Ashford or Stoneview. He might tarry.
Sue climbs out from under the SUV and hobbles away, but Phil appears out of nowhere and blindsides her into the snow. He jumps on her and slams his fist into her face.
To call a child to his knee.
Another fist. Wham!
Really enjoying this, Susan.
Wham! Another blow. Sue's head lolls. She stares up at the hideous form of her husband. Her vision starts to darken, goes black. Flash, a vision of Lily in her car seat, reaching out for her and laughing. Flash, Lily in Sue's arms. Flash, Lily asleep in her crib. Sue's eyes snap open.
Fat sloth garden.
Phil smiles, rears back to deliver a killing blow. Sue closes her eyes, prepared to die, but nothing happens.
Sue?
It doesn't sound like Hamilton anymore.
Honey, is that you?
Sue opens her eyes, sees Phil sprawled awkwardly against the rear wheel of the expedition. She crawls a few feet away and collapses. Her eyes never leave